camera is clearly not agreeing with me right now, so Holly is going to take the lead here at the beginning for everybody.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Holly, and welcome to tonight's meeting. We're very excited to have all of you, especially for our sports PR meeting. We were really looking forward to this one all quarter, so we're really excited to get this one kickstarted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is our executive board for the coming year. So if all the e-board members can just give a brief introduction of themselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie. I am the immediate past president.
Hey, everyone. I'm Taylor, and I am the current president.
Hello, everybody. I'm Juliet. I'm the proud faculty advisor of this great board.
I'm not sure. I put Sabrina's picture up here with her title earlier today, but it's not on here. I'm not sure where it got lost. I'm going to have her introduce herself before I introduce myself.
Thank you, Nipper. I'm Sabrina Minton. I am the VP of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
And I am Niffer. I am the outgoing VP of Creative and the incoming VP of Digital.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christina. I'm the VP of Membership.
Hey, everybody. I'm Melania, and I'm the VP of Professional Development.
Hey, everyone. I'm Pavitra. I'm going to be the VP of Social.
And I'm Holly, and I'm the incoming VP of Events.
And I'm Giselle, and I'm the VP of Communication.
And I see we have Miss Conda. How are you, Miss Conda? I think, oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. I'm sorry for being late, guys. I have like several emails and I was just kind of like sending everything over to my other email. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just some housekeeping. Become a dues paying member for DePaul PRSSA. Our discount price has been extended, 25% off all new memberships till the end of this month. And if you're graduating soon, you can get a discount on a PRSA associate membership with the code GRAD2021, which is $15 a quarter. And some perks include PRSSA national webinars and events, access to case studies and scholarship opportunities. And you can also contact Juliet for more information on dueserships for whoever needs them. And yeah, moving on to scholarships, all dues paying members are eligible to apply until May 31st. You can visit prsafoundation.org/scholarships or email Juliet at this email. And yes, the press blog, it's our newly launched blog for student-wide perspectives on all things public relations. Personal note, I really love writing for the press, and it's a really great experience to get yourself a byline, learn more about public relations through writing about what you're passionate about. So if you're interested in writing for the press, email Natalie at her email below. And yes, join our Slack channel to stay in the loop with all the matters going on. It's the easiest way to chat with us and get reminders for anything important. And you can use the invite link here to join quickly. And now I'll hand it over to Christina to introduce our panel for tonight.
Hi, everybody. I am super excited to introduce tonight's speakers. I think we have a really great group here. I'm going to also let them introduce themselves a little bit, and we'll just go in the order that that's on my screen. So Emma, if you would love to go first, she's the senior coordinator of digital content at the Chicago Cubs. And I've heard her, she came to one of my classes before and talked, and it was really great. So I'm really excited for her to be here today.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna kick it off. Yeah, that's my title, Senior Coordinator Digital Content. This is my 5th season with the Chicago Cubs. So I've been with the team for a long time. I've held a variety of roles. I actually started as a marketing intern back in 2017, right after they won the World Series, which was a great time to be working for the Cubs. And I kind of just made it my mission to work really hard, so they didn't want to get rid of me, which fortunately for me, that was the case. I stayed on when I got hired full-time. I was an integrated marketing coordinator. I was primarily at that time working on some of the like ancillary businesses to the Cubs. So Wrigley Rooftops, which are the rooftop buildings on Sheffield and Waveland around the ballpark, and then Gallagher Way, which is the newly opened events plaza right next to the ballpark. And over time, it just became clear that I was really interested in social media and content creation and the digital space. And so they shuffled me over to the social media team, where I've been ever since. And yeah, just recently, at the beginning of this year, was promoted to Senior Coordinator of Digital Content. So really excited about that. Basically, my role is I'm kind of the day-to-day content calendar manager for all of our social channels. So we're on, 8 different channels. We have over 8 million followers. And I'm just kind of managing the content calendar day to day, making sure content is getting executed. This will happen a lot, so I'll let Candy introduce herself now.
Hi, your puppy is part of the team, huh? Hi, I am Candy Conda. I am the CEO of Life After Sports. To back up a little bit, I used to also work with the Chicago Bulls. I used to run the life skills. I used to run the life skills program for late night basketball for the men and the women's team for 4 years. A lot of people don't know that. So we used to do all of the programming. The individuals could not play any of the basketball at all before coming through the life skills program. So whatever it is that they needed, we provided the training for them through late night basketball. So I did that for 4 years. Actually, initially it was through the Bulls, and then the Chicago Park District came on as a partner. So it became the Park District, a joint program between the Park District and the Bulls. I also used to have a sports newspaper. And when I started my sports newspaper, we used to cover all different kinds of sports. I used to do public relations for a women's basketball team, professional team called the Chicago Honeybees. And as I was working with the Chicago Honeybees, I started to help them promote themselves around the Chicago area. And when we started to promote them, they found actually a league that they wanted to get into, which was the WBA. So I actually put together a proposal for them and some NBA players. And when they, right when we got to the 11th hour, the NBA players dropped out. And so everyone was like, well, Candy, you put the deal together, so why don't you purchase the team? So I ended up actually purchasing the team and actually making the deal happen, which is how I end up actually being the owner of the, we ended up being the Chicago Twister. I ended up buying the team in the league. And now actually, which is funny, fast forwarding to me actually being here in Vegas, I'm actually just bought a football team here in Las Vegas. How about that? Which is, they called it the Las Vegas Devils, but I just changed the name to the Las Vegas Vipers. So we have a lot more to talk about, but I'm the CEO of Life After Sports, and we also have a Life After Sports app on the Apple Store, and also on the Google Play Store. And I'll turn it over to Anna.
That's tough to follow up.
I didn't want to hog all the oxygen.
I'm Anna Howard. I am supervisor on the Marcom team at Revolution. We're an integrated sports marketing agency. So we primarily work with brands and rights holders who are either brands who are looking to get into sports in one way or another, and then rights holders who are looking to raise awareness. So integrated sports marketing agency basically means we have a suite of marketing expertise. So from Marcom and data analytics and media and consulting and hospitality and creative strategy, you name it, we do it. So yeah, I've been here for about almost 4 years. I went to school at a small liberal arts college in Connecticut called Wesleyan. I played field hockey and tennis there. I was an English major, had no idea what to do with an English major and econ major as well. And then my mom was in marketing, so I kind of got into the marketing space, really just wanted to write things. And she was like, this is a fun way to do that. First got my start at Weber Shandwick, which is a large PR agency, mainly doing lifestyle and food. So worked on accounts like Aldi and McCormick, TrackPhone, that type of stuff, but kind of knew I wanted to get back into the sports space. So after about 2 years at Weber, I transitioned to Revolution and have been here ever since.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for your guys' introductions. We would like to go into now, if any of you guys have any like specific stories or specific cases, we really love to hear those from you. If you have slides, we'd love them. If you don't, we'd love to hear your story. If any of you feel like you really have a good one, please like go ahead.
I mean, I can start.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess from like a case study perspective, so I guess I kind of wanted to just talk about like what Marcom means from an agency side of things. So Marcom definitely includes like the PR side of it, like traditional media relations. But we really run the gamut of all communications. So paid, earned, social, and owned. We're brought in from any type of messaging standpoint. So all right, web copy, social copy, press releases, any influencer messaging, that type of stuff. We're kind of brought in. So it's really fun because it kind of just, you're not just one lane, you're kind of like certain components, you fake it till you make it on a lot of it, but you gotta get to just test out a bunch of different things. But from a case study to kind of showcase it, not technically sports, but we actually work with a company called Putt Shack, which is from the founders of Top Golf. And it's a mini golf, like entertainment concept. But we were brought in from the very beginning. So they have just started, they have 3 locations in London. And they've just opened in Atlanta and are about to expand a lot. But we were pretty much brought in from the very beginning to help build their brand book. which is really being able to build their brand archetype, their brand story, who they are, what they stand for, their tone of voice, how they kind of communicate to consumers and anyone that they're talking to, and how they promote themselves in the marketplace. So we were able to like actually start from scratch with them. And I was heavily involved with really being able to create that messaging standpoint. And then after kind of building that brand book, actually bringing that persona to life. So Putchak is upscale tech infused mini golf. So it has a little bit of a component of sports, if you call mini golf sports. But really kind of actually bringing that to market. So whether that is through PR, so your traditional press releases of really getting the name out there, but then also paid and organic social, we were helping really craft that entire messaging and content throughout. Any sort of like radio reads or like content creation, like writing out those scripts. And then as like Putchak was about to open, like the media relation, on-site media relations, even during like COVID times, like kind of getting around, like figuring out that space of like really getting the word out. So it's kind of, it's cool to be able to kind of touch all facets. It's tough in this age to kind of just like be in one lane. So it's kind of figuring out how all those different components work together. So yeah, and that's kind of just one example of it. Similarly, we work really closely with American Family, and in the same vein, I help with pretty much messaging across the board, whether it's website, social, PR, what have you. So I don't know if that was helpful, but it does, but yeah. That's kind of a day in the life of working at an agency within the sports space.
I'm hoping my dog's not going to decide to bark right when I start talking, because that's usually what happens. But I can chat a little bit next if you'd like. I'm just debating on whether or not I want to pull up some slides that I've used in the past and kind of like where I want to go with this case study situation. But I think something that was really interesting for us that might be interesting to you all is just how we dealt with like the pandemic as a team. Because so obviously, you know, you go back to March and I'm sitting at home, I've just gotten home from spring training. We're like really on the doorstep of the regular season starting. We have full campaigns ready to launch. We have advertising ready to, you know, hit send on. You know, we're ready to sell tickets. We're ready, like everything. We're ready to go. We worked the whole off season, you know, to get ready for a regular season. And I'm sitting there and the NBA cancels their season and we're like, oh no, we're next. And I go to work the next day and I think we were there for like 2 hours. And sure enough, the announcement came and we were postponing the season. And at first it was just like, shut everything off, stop everything, stop the train, make sure nothing gets out into the marketplace about tickets selling, make sure like none of our advertising gets started, like what do we have going out and how do we stop it as quickly as possible to be sensitive to the situation. And then it was, okay, let's navigate like just being sensitive to the situation, kind of just being quiet for a little while. This is something normally we only have to do like once we're out of the playoffs, or like once we know we're not going to be in the playoffs, we just kind of like, all right, we'll just be quiet for a while this passes. So for us, it was so weird to be ready to have like our most active part of our season start and just be like, all right, shut everything off and let's just be quiet while we try to figure out how to navigate this, because it was completely unknown territory for all of us. So then after the sort of like quiet part, it was, okay, now we have to figure out how do we create content for a pandemic, for an audience that's not going to have any baseball, and still want something from us. And what do they even want from us, really? So we like basically had to start from scratch. It's like, okay, throw everything out that has to do with baseball and figure out how we as a baseball team can speak to this audience in a pandemic. So a lot of what we did was like, first it was really about storytelling and how can we sort of comfort people and let people know, like, we'll be back. We don't know when, we don't have the answers. We don't really know what the future holds, but we'll be back. So we really leaned on storytelling for that in the beginning. And then when we had to create quarantine content, it was all about how do we like inform our audiences? How do we entertain our audiences? How do we keep them engaged when we don't have any live baseball to offer them, which is really what they're there for. So some of the kind of categories that this ended up like manifesting itself in was talking about what was good, which what didn't seem like a lot was good, right? But how could we talk about what was good? So how could we use our marquee to put messages out of support and of comfort? How could we support healthcare workers? You know, we became really focused on amplifying workers and you know, doing food drives for pantries. We turned Wrigley Field into a food pantry for a good portion of the pandemic. So that was a great story to tell. How could we use our players to say thank you to people that really deserved it? The players got really into that. They really wanted to double down and donate and be a part of those efforts. So that was great. Then it was like, okay, let's like re-engage our fans. Let's entertain them. Let's give them something to do because everybody's stuck at home and has no idea what to do. And so it was really just getting creative. So it was like, okay, well, we have this fantastic professional athletic training staff. Like, let's get them to do home workouts. Like, let's get them to instruct people how to stay active inside their house and how to use household items like towels and laundry detergent to get a workout in. You know, we started really thinking about like what's great about the team is traditions and history and all of that. So how can we use our history to create content and remind people what's great about baseball? We even used our nutritionists. So we have, again, like we have nutritionists that work for professional, you know, athletes. It's like, how can we use their knowledge to inform people about how to, you know, stay healthy, stay happy, all of those things, and give tips and recipes to try at home. Again, everything was like, what can we do at home? What's something we can actually instruct people to do that is safe and that they can do in their own space? And then, you know, I mean, what was nice, I mean, I hate to say nice, nothing was nice about it, but we had filmed a lot of content during spring training and during our annual Cubs convention. So we had kind of a backlog of this great content that we were ready to produce for our YouTube channel, which turned into a lot of great entertainment for our fans. So series like Bay versus Ball Player, which is a YouTube series of ours. We had The Relay, which was a new series we were introducing at the time where we had a current player and a former player have a conversation about baseball. We were continuing our Make It Cubs series, which was also a great opportunity to engage some sponsors. So we did like home crafts, like how to decorate Easter eggs, like a cut, like Cubs theme, like anything we could think of. It was just like, let's just try it. Let's just do it. Let's see if it works. So it was all just like, okay, we don't have any baseball and all we've ever known is baseball. How do we take all of these great things we have about us and turn it into something new for our fans? So that was really quite a journey for us and we turned it around and produced this content and got sponsors on them and like engaged fans, and people from all over our organization contributed ideas to this. Like, this was not just the social media team, right? Like, this was everybody across the organization pitching in, doing whatever they could, totally changing their job descriptions to make things happen. And it was a true team effort. And then when baseball came back, it was great to go back to that storytelling that we know and love as the Cubs and say, hey, we said we'd be back and now we are, and we're so excited about that. And, you know, while we can't invite you into the ballpark yet, we're gonna invite you to the game in other ways, and we're gonna bring it to you through our social channels. So I think the pandemic was a real audience of our creativity, of our ability to work together as a team. I think you see that on the baseball field all the time with our players, but I think it was truly a team effort, in the front office for all of us to get through it. And I'm really proud of what we did, and I'm really, fortunate and grateful to be part of a team of people who are so motivated to do whatever it takes to engage our fans and let them know that we're here for them. So yeah, it was quite a year, but taught me a lot about myself and and creativity. So I hope you guys maybe saw some of that content. If you didn't, just scroll back like a year and find it. But yeah, also happy to answer any questions you guys might have about that, or like literally anything else about the Cubs and social once Candy's done telling her great case study story.
Hi, I'm going to keep this very short so that we can kind of get to questions. So I'm an entrepreneur, so I think my experience is a little bit different. So everything for me will probably come from a business owner standpoint. So if any of you guys actually will be working for small businesses, or if you guys will be actually starting your own business, you will have to actually learn to punt, if you will. Learn how to punt. So a couple of things that I'll just throw to you guys for us. I'll give you three things. So the first biggest thing that happened to us through the pandemic, that we had an event for 32 NFL draft picks right here in Vegas, right? For the draft last year. And so we had all these sponsors and events and everything here in Vegas. I'm from Chicago, by the way. I'm not quite sure how many of you guys know. I used to work at WGCI. She was an on-air personality. She went to Columbia. Some of you guys are around her age. If you're about 30 something, you'll know she WGCI for 5 years. So some of you guys may know her. So I was her momager, and she also was an athlete as well. So she used to play basketball, but she also was in media. So so we come from both those worlds. But so when we didn't end up doing the draft, we literally had to replace that whole event with so many other things. So we had to, first of all, deal with all of our sponsors that we're supposed to have an event. So, what the first thing I wanted to say was about that is, even though that's not necessarily media related, you have to be prepared as a business owner that when something like that happens, so all of the sponsors were like, well, what do we do now? So we had to, do something for our sponsors. So some of our sponsors, we gave their money back. Some of them, we actually did other things for them. That means we actually gave them other, we gave them, we put them on other events. We gave them other visibility, other exposure. So maybe, we transferred what we were going to do for them and we put them on other events. Maybe we did actually put them in the next press release for another event. We gave them some other exposure or visibility online, or we hooked them up with another, like I said, another one of our influencers. So sometimes you just have to be proactive, or you've got to be creative. The other thing that happened to us, since we were talking about the pandemic, is that a lot of events that we did, we took them online. We created some social media, and Clubhouse became very important for us. As we talk about social media, we took a lot of things to Clubhouse. So we actually did a Clubhouse sports conference, the only one. So I am the third largest sports club on Clubhouse. We have 18,000. What happened? Did something happen? Did I miss something?
Nope, you're good. Keep going.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so for those of you that I'm assuming a lot of you guys know about Clubhouse. So we have the third largest sports club on Clubhouse. We have 18,000 members on Clubhouse. So we actually did a sports club on a sports conference on Clubhouse. We had 100 speakers. We had 25 4 days, sorry, we had 100 speakers. We had four whole days of workshops on Clubhouse. We had sponsors. We actually had people that paid and nobody was like, how did you actually get people to pay for an online workshop? But we got creative. So some of the people that were, we did it just like if it was a regular a conference that was at a that was in a hotel somewhere. So there are so many things that you can do. We did the whole thing. We had a conference director. We did a press release. We hired someone built us a website. We had a PR director. We had the whole kit and caboodle. So if you get creative enough, you can do whatever it is. You just have to, get creative. So, I just wanted to say that, we get creative when we need to be. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm going to turn this back over to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really enjoyed those case studies. All of you spoke about how the pandemic has really impacted your careers and so forth, and this increased shift to online. So I was wondering, since the community somewhat has to come together through a virtual space, did any of you see increased clients or any surprise clients come to you at all due to this increased shift towards online?
I did. Because of the pandemic, I ended up doing a lot more. Once I started doing virtual, people saw the success that I actually was able to do with virtual conferences. I actually did some Zoom conferences as well, the Clubhouse conferences. Actually, other people said, hey, you were successful doing that for yourself. Would you do that for me? So yes, I was able to do that for myself and other clients as well.
Awesome.
We definitely had a few different clients who were there were some clients that definitely backed off and were like, I don't want to spend any money. And we're like, that's a mistake. Because people marketing is still really important, even when we're at home. So you kind of just have to Candy's point, get creative. As I say, necessity breeds innovation. So when you have to, you can really turn things around in a different cool way. We did a lot of streamed events, which was kind of a cool component of really not trying to say that, oh, because of the pandemic, we have to do this virtual event. It was really trying to be streamed events can be incredible on their own for their different reasons, and they can either be a complement to an on-site thing or for reasons to hit certain KPIs or objectives, can actually be a better fit for a client. So we work really closely with Chipotle, actually across their esports and gaming. And in 2019, they did a lot of more on-site stuff at different esports tournaments. And actually at the beginning of 2020, we shifted them toward just all virtual and really leaned in on more of the gaming component than really true esports side of things, to really broaden that reach, get a more diverse group of people kind of into it, and really kind of blow up this what we call Chipotle Challenger Series. So it's this pro-am tournament where anybody can join in. You kind of just get a crew. It's 2 to 4 people. It's a few different games like Fortnite. We played Call of Duty, but we're really able to kind of grow that and make it its own thing versus 2019. And then from there, really lean in on the gaming community and really tapping into that authentic side of it. So to come join the Chipotle Challenger Series, where amateurs could compete against some of these huge names that they follow on Twitch and on social, and really actually like get to play games against them, but also being able to expand that into traditional sports athletes. So we had like Christian Pulisic playing Ali Long, number of NBA players who are in the gaming space. And then also like the celebrity side of things. So like Finn Wolfhard and Steve Aoki, and really just kind of like hitting cross culture and tapping into just this competitive side of people and just like a fun thing, and really bringing people together in the virtual when we had to stay home, like bringing people together to just play with each other, but also like being able to quote unquote meet their like favorite celebrities and like people that they look up to. So weirdly, it actually like exploded more, like because of the pandemic, it became like even more like significant and powerful, and like this thing that people gravitated toward, and really an authentic virtual experience. So that was kind of just a cool way that you kind of saw in this space of like you can actually succeed using that virtual space. Another component is we did a few different like concerts around it with some of our clients. So we work with Continental Tire, and we were able to kind of like create this country singer Brett Eldridge concert that, you know, in a normal world, like a concert can kind of be inaccessible. And that's kind of in general, sports can sometimes be inaccessible, of just like tickets can be really expensive. You may not be in the city of your favorite team, or like they're just, you know, it's tough to get someplace. So like this actual virtual world like actually broke down those barriers for even more people to actually come together for this passion that they have, whether it's sports, entertainment, music, all of that. Like we really leaned into this fact that people didn't lose their fandom at all. And Emma can probably also like speak to this, like Cubs fans didn't stop being Cubs fans during the pandemic. They still really wanted to connect to this team that they love, and really actually wanted to seek out ways to stay connected in that community. So the virtual space in a way like broke down some of those barriers to actually bring people together, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think for us, it just really, like we've seen a real like increase in partners moving a lot of their money into the digital space and moving it into social content, you know, from the more traditional like things that they would normally get as our partners. So a lot of partners, obviously, depending on, you know, how much money they're spending with us, are getting a lot of signage in the ballpark, video board features, stuff that has to do with game day and live fans. So when there's no live fans and there are not 162 games and there aren't all of these, you know, 81 home game opportunities for partners to be seen by fans, you know, we become it essentially for partners. And I think what was different for us was finding ways to thoughtfully attach partners to content series that made sense for them and get them the value that they needed on our social channels more so than ever before. I think it was a real opportunity for us as a digital team, as a social team, to prove that like we can really find creative solutions and create major value for our partners on our social channels. Now it's like kind of like a whole new problem, because now everybody wants all of that all the time. We're like, okay, we can't, you know, we're only, you know, so many people, and we've only got so many, you know, social channels and so much room on those social channels before fans figure out that like this, we don't want it to ever just feel like an advertising platform, right? Like we are trying to really meaningfully incorporate these partners into the content in a way that makes sense and it's still great for the fan and for the partners. So, but again, we created a lot of value for our partners, and it challenged us to get really creative. And it was just it sped up the process of partners continuing to move more and more of their money into the digital space.
I did have a question. It's more of a DEI type question. I'm an older student. You all might see that. And I've seen a lot of changes over the years, lots of changes, lots of between the Me Too movement, the things that were brought out because of the pandemic, and even before then. I was wondering, because we have a panel of all women, I was wondering, has your identity played a part in how you do work, or has being a woman made it harder in some instances to get the positions that you've had? Can you speak on that some?
I'll be candid about like my experience. Like I don't necessarily think I realized until probably several years into my career that like being a woman in sports is different than being a man in sports, because it just is. And that's not to say I've had a really horrible experience. I haven't, but I think it's just more so the awareness of it, and that for me, it's been more so you see in social media comments, because I work in social and I'm on the platforms every day and I'm monitoring all of the comments and the replies to our tweets and everything. You see the social chatter, and you see things like, we have our first women play-by-play announcer this year on our Marquee Sports Network, and that was really exciting to see. I think there's been some really cool things that are kind of why I'm more aware of it now, like Kim Eng with the Marlins, and we've got our first female play-by-play announcer, and you see the comments and you see some of the just totally ignorant things that people say, and you're like, how could people, like, what do you mean? Like, no, she didn't play professional baseball, but yes, she's an amazing play-by-play announcer. Like, she's doing a great job and she's awesome, and she's like, you've got all these fans that are so excited about her being there, but I'm seeing it, I'm very aware of it because I'm in the mentions and I'm in social all the time. And I think social can be a really good thing, and it can be really powerful in many good ways, but it can also be kind of an unpredictable, terrible place sometimes, unfortunately. And I think that's also kind of this like moral thing of like working in social. You're like, I see the good it can do, but you can also see how it can be bad, and influence people in the wrong ways. And so I think I'm just much more aware of the fact that like I am a woman in sports, and that like some people just think that like because I didn't play the sport, that means I don't know anything about it, and that I'm at some kind of like disadvantage in my job. It's like, no, actually I feel pretty confident that I know a lot about the sport that I'm working in, and many other sports, and I'm more than capable of doing this job. So I think it's just the awareness of it. At first, I was just like so excited to be working for the Cubs. It was like a total dream. And then as time goes on, you see those conversations and you become aware of them, and you're like, all right, okay, so this is still a problem, and it is still something we're working toward. And, but I do think that there are some encouraging things that we're seeing. We're seeing with the Cubs, we have more female coaches now. We have, our female play-by-play announcer. We have Kim Eng with Marlins, which was like such a great story. I think we're seeing movement, so there's signs of encouragement. Obviously, there's still work to be done.
Teams, and they've been very candid about working, in sales, in marketing, and talking about some of the challenges that they have, especially some of the younger women, and what they have gone through. Some of them of color, on the corporate side. And, they say that, it is a grind, and you just have to really get in there. You have to, you have to be present, and you just have to, there is a tribe, and then you have to really, find the people that care about you. And I'm trying to be politically correct here. So if I sound like I'm, because I want, I know that we're taping this, and I don't want to say anything that, but you have to really just find those people that are going to be looking out for you. That's really what it is, and if someone steps on your toes, you have to stand up for yourself. And that's really what they say. You have to stand up for yourself. And that's really what it is, because this is not easy. And I don't care what it is, we are always going to have to fight. We are going to have to fight and claw. That's it, and it doesn't matter really if it's marketing or PR or whatever. We have to claw for everything we get, especially in sports, because this still is a man's world. And I don't even care what city it's in. I started in Chicago, and I'm here in Vegas, and it's the same thing. It doesn't matter. We're gonna have to claw.
Definitely. And just for the sake of time, we're gonna just get to Lily's question, which she posed in the chat. How much entertainment publicity for individual athletes is involved in sports PR? How do you negotiate between publicity for the team versus publicity for the athletes?
I can just say quickly that we really think player marketing is massively important at the Cubs. I mean, our players are our ambassadors, and more often than not, people are bigger fans of our players maybe than just the Cubs in general. I mean, we're fortunate we're the Cubs. We have many, many generations of diehard fans, but I think nowadays, especially with younger fans, they're fans of athletes, not necessarily they might have a favorite team, but everybody loves LeBron, whether they're a Lakers fan or not, that kind of stuff. So we think player marketing is massively important. It's hugely important to us. And we definitely try to build really great relationships with all of our players, all of our athletes, so that they want to be involved in the efforts that we're working on and our marketing and be part of our campaigns. And then we also want to give them plenty of content to market themselves, because when they're marketing themselves, they're also marketing us. And so that just benefits us. So I would say it's not like we do the marketing for every individual player. They have agents and they have other people, but we will do anything to help their brands and boost their brands just as much as we would do it for our own.
Yeah, I can kind of piggyback off of that from an agency standpoint. So when we're working with a brand, both are massively important. I mean, each player is their own brand, especially with the social media world. And those are really powerful. But like anything, you also, when you're working with a specific person, you have to really make sure that they align with your brand's specific objectives, their values. The vetting process is really important because, I mean, first off, any fan can see through an inauthentic partnership at this point. We're all really savvy in that regard, and you can't think of your audience as dumb in that component. So no matter how much money you throw at it, if it's not authentic, it's not going to work. And then also it is a person, so you always have to remember that component where nobody's perfect. And so you really have to make sure that you've done a good job vetting, and make sure that there isn't something that's a red flag, especially for your specific brand. And also just making sure that it's the right kind of personality for your brand. I mean, and every brand is kind of different, similar to kind of what I talked about before. Every brand has their own archetype, their own personality to begin with. So it's really making sure that you're strategic with any type of partnership that you're going into.
And do you all have any advice for anyone wanting to go into sports PR or marketing?
I'll say, especially getting into the sports marketing space, I mean, there's no one way to do it. So don't get discouraged if you don't get your dream job at the very beginning. I've always said, like, it's easier to find a job when you have a job. So especially if you can get experience within the marketing space, like I started not in sports at all. But I got my feet wet in the agency life. I figured out how to stand out. I figured out how to like deal with a really fast-paced environment. I figured out marketing and PR and all of that, and really like being able to be chameleon with any type of brand voice that translates into the sports industry. But if getting into sports is your top priority, it's, you know, really finding those different doors to get you there. Don't narrow track it, but also if this is the industry that you love, like know this industry so that when that opportunity comes up, like you can speak to it. Especially back to the kind of your point, like if you're a female, you kind of have to know sports because people are going to underestimate you. Usually it's changing a little bit, but definitely know your stuff. It's also not all glamorous. Just remember that too.
Wait, what did you say, Anna? It's not what?
It's not all glamorous working in sports.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. But, you know, I also, you know, I would like to say just a couple of things I'd like to say too. You know, I also think that people should have an idea what you want to do. Because there are some people that, you know, you want to do PR, you know, like, you know, there's a little bit of difference between marketing and PR. Like I have people that I go to just for PR. I have a PR team, you know, and then we have people that we just do marketing. We just do, you know, social media. We do social media marketing. So, you know, we have people in our group that do, you know, that do different things also. So, you know, also, I tell people to kind of know what you want to do. Because if you hate marketing, you know, if it's something that you really don't like to do, you know, you're not going to like it. So I also say, I tell people to kind of know what you like to do. You know, if it's something that you really hate to do, you're not going to like it. So, you know, I hate people too to say, oh, just give me anything. I'll do anything also, because, you know, you're not going to be happy. You know, I also say that too, kind of just have an idea what it is that you like to do, you know, what at least what area that you want to go into. So, you know, I do, you know, tell people to have some kind of idea. Yeah, you might want to do something to get your feet in the door, but also, you know, have an idea what you like to do. But yes, and then maybe, like I said, and then the other thing is, don't be afraid to intern. You know, if people have told me recently that yes, through the pandemic, people aren't interning as much, but once you get your feet in the door, intern, you know, work for a couple of different people to see what the different type, you know, job types are, you know, what does a PR agent or PR firm, what they do, what does marketing, what does social media mean, what does a social media manager do? Once you kind of see those different, you know, business types, that will kind of also, you know, let you get your feet wet a little bit. That will also help you make some decisions as to which way you really want to go, and that'll make a difference as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Don't be afraid to intern. That's how I got my foot in the door. So I was an intern, and I got turned down actually from the communications internship, and then they offered me the marketing internship. And I had a totally like traditional PR background before that. And I was also taking an internship as a graduate student. So I was getting my master's degree, but I was still an intern, and I actually turned down a full-time job offer somewhere else because I was like, this is my opportunity to get my foot in the door, and it's okay that I'm an intern. That's all right. That's fine. And it really did. It helped me figure out what I wanted to do. It really exposed me to the sports world. And yeah, it got my foot in the door. And yeah, fortunately, I was able to stay after my internship was over. So yes, I agree, Candy. Don't be afraid to intern.
And one more thing, don't be sports specific. Do not be sports specific. That's my other last piece of advice. You know, you may hate football, but football was not my thing. I was strictly a basketball person. And right now, 75% of what I do is football. So I just want to say that last thing. Thank you.
That is a really good point.
Fully agree. I didn't know anything about baseball until I met my now fiance, and then I got my job with the Cubs. So I was like, I don't have a baseball team. I don't know anything about baseball. And then met him, knew who the Cubs were. There was an opportunity open, and I was like, baseball it is. Learned everything I could about baseball, and now.
Agency
And
life
you got a
definitely has.
fiance. And you got a fiance.
Agency life is definitely that way too. The amount of sports I've had to learn. I've had to learn F1. I've learned IndyCar. I've learned sailing. I've learned soccer. I've gotten into NFL, NBA, like all of it. So you have to don't be like one sport specific, but you gotta like sports. And you gotta like find a passion in all of them.
Exciting.
Well, thank you so much to our panelists tonight for bringing on such a wonderful meeting and explaining what the world of sports PR is like. So we can give them a round of virtual applause.
Yay.
Yes,
Very
thank you
good.
all so much for coming. I think it's just so great to hear like the sports seasons are back, and we're just so excited to kind of do a lot more fun this summer. And thank you all for sharing your perspective and experiences, especially throughout, you know, the pandemic and how you navigated that with your teams. And yeah, thank you all again so much. We hope you have a great rest of your evening. We did quickly just wanted to share that the RSVP for our PRSSA pizza party is on Friday. I will drop that in the chat. So if you would like free pizza and to just come chill and celebrate the end of the year with us, please feel free to fill out that form. Panelists welcome to have free pizza too. So thank you all again, and we hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. Send my pizza to Vegas, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.